All right, today we're going to unpack a really fascinating story of corporate evolution, straight from the pharmaceutical world. It's all about a company that completely reinvented itself, shifting its whole game from massive volume to high value, complex science. This is the story of Granules India, and honestly, it's a masterclass in strategy. So, where do you even start with a story like this? Well, let's actually start at the end. Investment analysts, the folks who dig through all the numbers, they've landed on a simple, really powerful recommendation: buy. And that immediately brings up the one big question we're going to answer today: why? What did they see that makes this company so compelling? Okay, so it really boils down to three big things. First, they pulled off a radical and, more importantly, successful transformation of their entire business model. Second, they've made a huge push into R&D in some of the most profitable corners of medicine. And third, they've proven they can stay strong and deliver the goods, even when the industry is facing some pretty significant headwinds. To really get how they managed all this, here's our roadmap. We'll touch on that investment thesis we just mentioned, then we're going to rewind the clock to their origins in the old volume game. After that, we'll dive into their high-value transformation, check out their impressive green pivot, and finally, we'll take a balanced look at the risks on the radar. Sound good? Let's get into it. Every great transformation story has a starting point, right? So to understand where Granules is today, we have to go back to what they used to be: an absolute titan of bulk manufacturing. You see, their whole game wasn't about discovering brand new drugs. It was all about producing the fundamental building blocks of medicine, the active pharmaceutical ingredients, or APIs, and doing it at a massive, massive scale. Think about stuff like paracetamol or metformin. Granules was the go-to company for cranking out huge quantities of these core ingredients super efficiently. And if you look at their books from just a few years back, the story is right there in the numbers. Active ingredients and pharmaceutical intermediates, the basic stuff, made up a combined 55% of their business. The finished medicines you actually buy at the pharmacy, that was less than half. This was the classic volume playbook in action. But, there's a huge catch with that kind of business model. What do you do when everyone else starts playing the exact same game? When the market for bulk ingredients gets flooded, competition becomes absolutely fierce, and prices start to tank. How do you protect your business and keep growing? That was the huge challenge that set the stage for their dramatic pivot. And that, right there, brings us to the absolute core of this story: the company's deliberate, super strategic shift away from just being a volume player. They made a conscious choice to move up the value chain, to embrace complexity and real innovation. And wow, the results of that pivot, they're just staggering. Fast forward to today, and the picture has totally flipped on its head. Finished dosages, those complex, high-margin medicines, are now projected to make up 77% of their business. Those basic ingredients that were once their bread and butter, now they're just a small fraction of the pie. This isn't just a small shift, it is a total reinvention. So, the big question is, how did they pull off such a dramatic change? Well, a key move was targeting the peptide market. Now, we're not talking about simple chemical APIs anymore. We're talking about complex, high-value biologic drugs, a whole different universe. By strategically acquiring a Swiss company, Scent Chemicals, Granules basically got an instant foothold in one of the fastest-growing sectors in all of medicine. This acquisition effectively turned them into what's called a CDMO, a contract development and manufacturing organization. What on earth is that? Well, think of it this way. It means they can now team up with other pharma companies to help develop and manufacture these complex new drugs for them. It's a high-skill, high-margin business model. And the market they just jumped into? It's an absolute rocket ship. Fueled by this new generation of anti-obesity and diabetes drugs we're all hearing about, the peptide space is projected to be worth a staggering $150 billion by 2030. Granules didn't just buy a company, they bought a ticket to a market that is experiencing truly explosive growth. But, this transformation is about more than just what they make. It's also about how they make it. Granules is also reinventing its process, making sustainability a core piece of its strategy. They're turning what a lot of companies see as just a cost into a powerful competitive advantage. This quote from the chairman, I think, really says it all. It's about creating this direct link between a healthy planet and healthy people. And this isn't just some fluffy corporate speak. It's a real guiding principle that's shaping how they invest and how they operate day to day. And it isn't just talk either. They have a real, concrete plan. They're locking in carbon-free energy through a partnership with Greenco and building a detailed climate roadmap with Siemens. And here's the crucial part. Their targets have been validated by the Science Based Targets Initiative. That's the gold standard for this stuff. They're even pushing this change out to their suppliers, cleaning up their entire value chain. And you can already see the results. I mean, look at the data. It shows a significant, measurable drop in their direct greenhouse gas emissions in just a couple of years. They're absolutely putting their strategy into action, and the proof is right here. Okay, so of course, a change this massive doesn't happen without some serious challenges. To get the full picture, we have to look at the hurdles Granules still needs to clear. It's not all smooth sailing. You can really put the risks into two big buckets. Internally, you've always got the challenge of just executing a complex new business model. Can they actually deliver on the promise? Then externally, the threats are always there. Fierce global competition, constant downward pressure on drug prices, and of course, the ever-watchful eye of strict regulators like the US FDA. So what's their game plan to tackle all this? Well, it's basically a 5-point strategy. They're going to keep expanding into complex drugs, control costs by integrating their supply chains even more, push harder into the big US and European markets, keep fueling that R&D engine, and really use their sustainability leadership as a true competitive weapon. And this all brings us to the big final question, right? Granules India has managed to blend this high-value product pivot with a really deep commitment to green manufacturing. So is this just one company's amazing success story, or are we actually looking at the blueprint for the future of the entire pharmaceutical industry? It's something to think about.